This is another reading from Federal Reserve Act, Section 16, Part 1 and 2. Section 16, Note Issues. Issuance of Federal Reserve notes, nature of obligation where redeemable. Federal Reserve notes to be issued at the discretion of the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System for the purpose of making advances to Federal Reserve banks through the Federal Reserve agents as hereinafter set forth and for no other purpose are hereby authorized. The said notes shall be obligations of the United States and shall be receivable by all national and member banks and Federal Reserve banks and for all taxes, customs, and other public dues. They shall be redeemable in lawful money on demand at the Treasury Department of the United States in the city of Washington, District of Columbia, or at any Federal Reserve Bank. 12 U.S.C. 411 as amended by Act of January 30th, 1934, 48 Stat 337, for redemption of Federal Reserve notes whose bank of issue cannot be identified. See Act of June 13th, 1933. This is 2. Application for notes by Federal Reserve banks. Any Federal Reserve bank may make application to the local Federal Reserve agent for such amount of the Federal Reserve note hereinbefore provided for as it may require. Such application shall be accompanied with a tender at the local Federal Reserve agent for collection in the amount equal to the sum of the Federal Reserve notes thus applied for and issued pursuant to such application. The collateral security thus offered shall be notes, drafts, bill of exchange, and acceptances acquired under Section 10A, 10B, 13, or 13A of this Act, or bills of exchange endorsed by a member bank of any Federal Reserve District and purchased under the provisions of Section 14 of this Act, or bankers' acceptances purchased under the provisions of said Section 14, or gold certificates, or special drawing rights certificates, or any obligations which are direct obligations of or are fully guaranteed as to principal and interest by the United States or any agency thereof, or assets that Federal Reserve banks may purchase or hold under Section 14 of this Act, or any other asset of the Federal Reserve Bank. In no event shall such collateral security be less than the amount of Federal Reserve notes applied for. The Federal Reserve agent shall each day notify the Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System of all issues and withdrawals of Federal Reserve notes to and by the Federal Reserve Bank to which he is accredited. The said Board of Governors of the Federal Reserve System may at any time call upon a Federal Reserve Bank for additional security to protect the Federal Reserve notes issued to it. Collateral shall not be required for Federal Reserve notes which are held in the vaults of or are otherwise held by or on behalf of Federal Reserve banks. And they got 12 USC 412 as amended by the Acts of September 7th, 1916, 39 Stat 740, 754 as 39 Stat 754, June 21st, 1917, 40 Stat 236, February 27th, 1932, 47 Stat 57, February 3rd, 1933, 47 Stat 794, January 30th, 1934, 48 Stat 338, March 6, 1934, 48 Stat 991, June 30th, 1941, 55 Stat 395, May 25th, 1943, 57 Stat 85, June 12th, 1945, 59 Stat 237, June 19th, 1968, 82 Stat 190, 189, that's 82 Stat 189, November 10th, 1978, 92 Stat 3,672, March 31st, 1980, 94 Stat 140, December 6th, 1999, 113 Stat 1638, and October 28th, 2003, 117 Stat 1193. And that's the Federal Reserve Act, Section 16, 1 and 2.